Well, good evening, everyone. Glad to see you. As our students are still trickling in from classes, we are going to get started because I know that everyone is ready for food, okay? So without further ado, I want to kick us off with saying welcome to the Arch Culminating Event, a quick history lesson. The very first culminating event we did was about 6 years ago in our pilot season. And it was kicked off by our former Dr. Hajela. And so to have our new provost here this afternoon will be awesome to continue the legacy of having the culminating event with all of our key faculty and all of our administration that has helped make it possible. So to kick us off today, I would like to introduce Dean Brenneman, Dean of the School of Science.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. So good evening, students, faculty, staff, fellow leadership. Welcome. Thank you for joining us at this culminating event this evening. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to welcome everybody as well as to introduce the Arch Culminating video for the summer of 2023. So stand by, we'll get to that one in a second. This summer, our students had greater access than ever before to our world-class facilities and faculty. They studied together, went on adventures together. They took part in activities involving a number of our world-class facilities like the Center for Biotechnology and Interdisciplinary Studies, CBIS, ARCOS, Rensselaer Center for Open Source, the AMOS Supercomputer, the Lighting Research Center, the Microelectronics Clean Room, the Manufacturing Innovation Learning Laboratory, and others. Quite a set of experiences, I gotta say. Other exclusive summer activities included curricular trips, such as fieldwork at Lake George, Darren Freshwater Institute, Cohoes Waterfall, and right here on campus at EMPAC. Students attended leadership and professional development workshops and career readiness seminars, and they participated in events designed to prepare them for their upcoming semester away experiences. And so, built on the riches of New York's capital region, that is cultural riches, this summer also gave students access to a wide variety of activities not available during the traditional fall or spring semesters, including weekly summer programming, recreational activities, enjoying a common lunch hour, and opportunities for taking full advantage of downtown farmers market and Albany County festivals, among other things. It's been an enriching and a rigorous summer for rising juniors, and you know who you are. As you watch the culminating video and hear from our esteemed faculty, students, and staff, which you will in a few minutes, we ask that you applaud and recognize all who share in the summer accomplishments this evening. Finally, a lot of work, hard work, will be on full display in the gallery walk during the dinner reception. We invite you to engage in conversation with Arch summer students about their tremendous work innovations and plans for upcoming terms and a semester away planning. Now, let's reflect on summer 2023, beginning with the culminating video.
So welcome to the President's house, but I like to think of it as the people's house. And part of the purpose really is I hope that everybody can say that at least once they were at the President's house at RPI.
You knock on the door of the dean's office and you come to me and you're passionate and you say, I want to solve the energy problem. I want to discover the next molecule. And I just love this idealism in you to try to change the world.
What really helped me were the away semesters. I worked at Miami, Ohio, and I worked at Notre Dame. That really set me up to learn about what life was like as a scientist.
And next up, we have Chris Letchford from the Civil and Environmental Engineering Department.
Thank you, Kurt. It's been my pleasure to teach in the Arch for 3 years. And although this is the smallest year, we did have a lot of fun. And I did put up here what I believe RPI should have under its branding rather than what we currently have. It's really important that you do know why you're changing the world, because you certainly are changing the world. The other thing I wanted to say when I had this platform is that I hate Arch. Arch is a terrible name for what could be a transformative experience. And I had suggested in the past that we should rebrand Arch as Portal, which to me, for a technological university, makes much more sense. So with that little bit of advertising, let's move on. We had a lot of fun because it was a small class and because the summer is a great time to be outdoors in Troy, to look at this building. This building is amazing because it stays on the side of a very steep hill. Okay, and one of the reasons it stays here is it has huge rock anchors back under the science buildings. But the other reason it stays here is that we manage the water that runs around the building very well. And so in the class that I taught, hydrology and design, we looked at the cascading water treatment, if you like, or water storage down the side of this building to the south. So that was one of our field trips. We looked at various sites around Troy, and one of them was this waterfall in Cohoes, which is, if you haven't seen it, the second largest waterfall in New York State. It just happens to suffer from being in the same state as, of course, Niagara. But it is spectacular in the snow melt, and even in the middle of summer we were able to see this, as well as the Erie Canal, which launches from the Hudson River in Waterford. So those were two hydraulic structures or hydraulic events that we looked at here. We also visited the local Hannaford's supermarket on Hoosick Street. Some of you may know that on your route out to the supermarkets that you go out that way, but that's a brand new supermarket, and it's got a really interesting water management system because it was built in a hollow. So they had a lot of interest in working out how to solve not drowning in that hollow. And then our last visit was to the major water supplies for New York City, the Ashokan Reservoir in the Catskills, to see how that water is stored and how it's protected. And then the last thing in that route was also to look at this first ever green battery in New York, the Gilboa Blenheim Pump Storage Scheme, nearly 50 years old, was a green battery well before its time, and a unique feature of the power supply for New York State and in particular New York City. So that's all that I have to say for my part. I'm handing over to Steve now.
Thank you, Chris. So I'm Steve Tyso from Chemistry and Chemical Biology Department. This is the culmination of my 7th year, beginning my 8th year at RPI. So I've done summer teaching ever since I got here. So even before it was called Arch, I was teaching in the summer. We had 2 events I'd like to highlight. One was the Professional Development Dinner, which was just this past Monday. And we were able to get Dr. Mary Kay Carroll, who is the 2023 President-elect of the American Chemical Society. Now, just to put that in perspective, the American Chemical Society has 173,000 members, okay? And we're fortunate that Dr. Carroll is a full professor at Union College. She was also the analytical chemistry professor of my son, who went to Union College, which was probably a good way to network, to get people to talk at things like this. So it was wonderful. We had a wonderful dinner at Nicole's in Albany. If you haven't been there, it's a very nice restaurant. And there's her little bio. You can go on the Chemical and Engineering News website and read all about her. She's an aerogel expert, okay? And she's very active, of course, in the American Chemical Society, and she won the election. So there she is sitting with our chemistry majors, along with Dr. Snover, Dr. Ma, Dr. Marcy, and Dr. Cologne. I was the one taking the picture, that's why I'm running. So one of the things we did is we had these custom lab coats made up for the majors. So it says chemistry at Rensselaer, all embroidered, and then their first initial and last name. So that's really neat. Any of you guys here, you can stand up quick. Anybody show up? I told her there'd be extra credit. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not teaching them anyway. Anyway, I made them little stickers with the picture here so they can put it on their laptop as a little memento. All right, so next thing, we did our little adventure trip to the Ausable Chasm. Who's been there? Anybody here? All right, so you know how awesome it is, okay? I like to tell people that, 500 million years ago, something amazing happened, okay? It's interesting, it's called the Potsdam sandstone. I found out that. And it was carved out just like the Grand Canyon was, but not to the same extent, but the same mechanism. It's a river cutting through rock over time. And so we hiked for, I don't know, an hour and a half or so, and then we had this little raft ride. And there was the leaving RPI, the arriving at Ausable Chasm. And you can see they're really happy because they finally woke up. I had to get them up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And there's this full spectrum shot. Now, this is one of the advantages to bringing your spouse with you because she could take a picture. So my lovely wife of 33 years came along with us, which was a lot of fun. And I just took a couple of shots. You're going down this very narrow waterway with huge cliffs, 150 feet or so up. And what was interesting is there's a bridge that goes over the top. During Hurricane Irene, they said that the water was like 20 feet below that bridge, so literally like 100 feet higher going through this chasm, which you just can't even imagine going through there and just thinking about that. And there's just some of us on the raft. So we had like 3 rafts. We had 21 students, 3 rafts. And that kind of like got squished down, but nothing like having an all-you-can-eat buffet afterwards to culminate the trip, right? Because you get pretty hungry doing all that hiking and rafting and stuff. So those are the students that attended, and we have a little.
Now we're going to look straight ahead. You'll see this sort of triangle shape in the rocks. That is actually an inactive fault line. So millions of years ago, when their 2 tectonic plates were shifting together, they created this massive earthquake that opened up this whole chasm. And so the rest of these jagged and boxy looking shapes, those are from the last ice age that came through here. So when those glaciers came through here, the jagged edges pushed deep into this rock. That is how half this chasm was carved.
So unfortunately, I didn't have that motion stabilizer technology. Trying to stay still in the raft. Anyway, I'd like to thank all of the people that made this possible. Dr. Brennan, thank you very much. Dr. Ligon, Chad Christensen, and Jordan Schwitz-Gable, the coordinator of all of the various machinations that are required to make this possible. So thank you. Everyone who was on the rafting trip, stand up. I know you're here, Ron. All right. I didn't show the picture of them all sleeping on the bus on the way home. It might have been a little bit. Okay, I believe I'm going to be handing this over to Dr. Hirsch.
So much. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to teach next summer. I'm just going to come to your classes because this is awesome. So my name is Azita Hirsa. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a very proud alum of RPI. I graduated here and I really missed RPI, and then in 2018 I was asked to come back, and I just love being here. I've also been called a synthesizer. What I'd love to do is to bring the community together, to bring our students, our alum, our faculty, and really create this cohesive community. Now, part of that, I'm biased, my dissertation had to do with interdisciplinary collaboration. So, that's where part of that comes from. So, and I've been teaching classes, summer classes, since I've been here. I've had this great opportunity and amazing support from Dr. Emily Wu to be able to devise other courses aside from the courses that they've asked me to teach. And so I teach ethics and engineering, and I also teach management for engineers. And I also get the opportunity to teach a class in the School of Management, Lally School of Management. And I know you guys are in the back, but I can't see with the light coming on. So this summer, I thought to myself, as I was teaching the class, I thought, wouldn't it be amazing to reach out to one of our alum and ask him to come and speak to us about leadership, which was part of this management course. Now, I was incredibly fortunate that he had accepted to come and talk to our ethics class, and the students liked it so much that, see, I move, I can't. And the students liked it so much that I thought, okay, I'll do this for the management students as well. So let me show you a quick video. And so we prepared this discussion, and it was interesting because I had asked Roy Davis, our trustee Roy Davis, to read the chapters on leadership and then talk about leadership within the organization that he had worked at. So I'll show you this video, and then I'll tell you just to answer 3 questions that I thought might be very helpful. Do it again? All right.
In the long run, there's probably nothing that's more important to a company than the culture, because that, I think, in the long run, establishes the sustainable value of the enterprise. If you think about it, companies are people. I mean, the buildings and the furniture, they don't do a lot. So who you can retain and attract and what it's like to work there and the motivational level of the people that work there is not just something, it's everything. Obviously, you have to have good strategy, you have to have good products, but if you don't start with retaining and attracting the very best people, then it's very hard to get to those other things and have those things go well. So in the short run, you can get by in almost any culture if you have a really exciting product that the world's beating a path to your door. You can get away with a lot of things in culture for a very limited period of time. But if you want to create a sustainable enterprise, culture is really important.
So our class runs a little over an hour, if not maybe a little more, less than 2 hours. And I had planned for a 2-hour discussion, and I thought after an hour, everyone's going to get really tired, and no one's going to pay attention. People are going to fall asleep and start drooling. But it turned out that it was really successful. And I kind of thought about 3 things what stood out to me as a faculty. It was the incredible questions, the thoughtful questions that the students had come up with at the end of the session. And it just surprised me that I didn't think anybody cared except for me about leadership, about organizations, but it turned out that our students really paid attention and they had some amazing questions. What was the aha moment for me? I think the aha moment was, I remember when I was a student here, as an undergraduate, we had invited Lou Gerstner from IBM to come and speak to us. And I thought, well, I'm gonna go to this talk and listen to see what he has to say. And just like a typical CEO, there were a lot of jargons, there were a lot that was said. And I walked away thinking to myself, I didn't learn a thing. I mean, I expected him to give us like company secrets, but he didn't do any of that stuff. I reflect back and I think about the impact that it had. Here was Lou Gerstner, someone who was the CEO of this giant corporation, and he had thought of us and he had spent the time with us, and that in itself was really, really valuable. And so when I teach classes, I think about what is it that I can do for the students. Just having someone who has made it, who's been incredibly successful and who's been a leader, and the world knows about them, if they can spend some time with us and teach us what it is that they do. And I know for each student, it's something different that take away. And my third question that I thought about was, what do I think impacted the students the most? I think the classes, I taught 4 classes actually this summer, and in each class, the students really loved that you had someone who had reached that high level within the organization and was willing to speak to them at a level that they understood, to befriend them, to be a collaborator, to be someone that cared about them. And, you know, we talk about how we're going to go out there and change the world. And don't get me wrong, that is my motto, and that's what I plan to do until I'm on my deathbed. But the fact that someone can come and talk to them and talk to these students and tell them how it's done and what are some of the tips and some of the tricks in the trade, I think that's really, really important. And so for us to come together, for us to be able to sit at a table and look each other in the eyes and talk about our experiences, I think has been a wonderful, wonderful experience for me at least, and I think for our students as well. So thank you so much for this opportunity. This has been great.
Faculty, remember to use the microphone. Next, we have Jonathan Stetler.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jonathan Stetler. I'm also an alumni, and I'm a lecturer in the biology department. I got the chance to take kids up to Lake George this summer. I've done this field trip in a couple different ways. This is my 3rd summer, and I'm happy to say this was our largest turnout. So I ran this trip with 2 other faculty members, Dr. Darren Hunt and Dr. Jeremy Farrell, and we had 18 students attend, which was 12 more than any other time. So that's super cool. The best part is we didn't get rained on, and we had great weather. So in the morning, we partnered with the Lake George Association, and we went out to the lake, and we saw a couple areas that RPI has active research with the Jefferson Project. So we took them to a profile buoy that's collecting data 24/7. They got to witness sort of that technology. And then we moved on to another area where the students got to sample the lake themselves. So here we are sampling plankton in the lake, but we brought other high-tech equipment from RPI up, things like temperature and UV light throughout the water column. So they got their hands wet and dirty looking at this data. While this field trip happened in May, some students have been preparing for this the entire time. So sorry, the trip happened in July, but starting in May, I ran a course called Aquatic Field Biology. So I know there's at least 1 student in the course here. Anyone else here? If you're in the course, stand up. I know Isabella, you're here. Oh, Aiden's here, nice, Cam's here. Zihan, perfect. So we had 8 students total, so half the class showed up. That's pretty great, right? So we learned how to assess the habitat of a stream. What does it mean for a stream to be healthy? How do we even go out and characterize a stream? We taught them different parts of habitat. We taught them how to characterize the flow of the stream. And then probably the most fun part, we taught them how to collect insects. And these insects that live under the rocks can tell you a lot about the ecosystem. Some are very sensitive to pollution, some are not. So you can see, I think this was from the first day, and they're actually out collecting samples. Moving forward from this, moving back to Lake George, in the afternoon of our field trip, we took all our students to a new stream that they've never seen before. And for the 8 students in our course, it was a challenge for them to do a stream assessment on a stream they've never been to. On top of that, they had to teach the other students how to sample the stream. So this was really a peer-to-peer, hands-on experience. On the left is Zihan. Zihan is here, back there. And she's working with another student, Guri, who did not take our field class. So we kind of used the buddy system, and they worked together to teach them how to assess the stream. And throughout this process, there were a few student stories or transformations that I'd like to share with you through this peer mentoring process. So the first student I want to highlight is Isabella. Isabella's in the back. Stand up or wave, Isabella. I'm probably embarrassing her right now. But from the first day of class, it was apparent to all of us that she had a clear passion for field biology and that she's really interested in research. So this trip was an opportunity for her to emerge as a leader. If we go back, we look on the right picture here, this is Isabella teaching 4 other students how to sort the insects. So she really got a chance to come out of her shell and emerge as a leader, and hopefully she can take these leadership skills on and have a successful career as a researcher. The next student I want to highlight is Haley Mason. I don't think she was able to make it today, but she's a BCBP student. What's kind of cool about Haley is she found out she really loved insects and ecology. So much so that she's considering a new career in ecology. Haley's the type of person that if you ask her how to do something on a pen and paper, she'll do a nice job. But if she has the opportunity to show you, that's where she will really excel. So you can see her over here, she's talking with me, and she's making a plan to teach other students how to measure the flow of the river. And through this, I think she really came out of her shell and she gained newfound confidence in her academic abilities. Okay, I do know what I'm doing. I can show other people, maybe more so than just reciting it for a quiz or something like that. And the last student I want to highlight is Aiden, and Aiden's right there. Also, don't forget to clap for Isabella. I think we forgot to clap for her too. So I wanted to highlight Aiden because he's not a biology or environmental science major. He sits at a computer all day. And something really cool about Aiden is that he and I worked on Lake George data back in the spring. So he'd be sitting on his computer in my office, trying to make sense of all this data, me trying to explain to him what a buoy is, what Lake George is actually like. And for him, this field trip was an opportunity to go out and see the field sites that he was actually working at. And I think things kind of came full circle when he got to see the equipment and he got to see some of his research. And I'm proud to say that he got to present his research this spring at the School of Science Fair. So I'm sure he still has that around. So wrapping up here, I want to reflect on what's been for me a rewarding experience. This field trip was probably the most fun I've had at RPI because I got to take a step back and watch our students teach other students how to sample a stream. I think if I were to sum this up, I think our students didn't realize how much they really knew until they had a chance to share that with other peers. Instead of talking to me or another instructor, there weren't any barriers. They got to work with their own students and they got to have fun with it. And I hope that this peer-to-peer mentoring kind of continues on in other classes as well. So thank you. All right, and now I think we'll learn about Event at Rensselaer.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to talk about Invent at Rensselaer. So Invent at Rensselaer is our programs in innovation and entrepreneurship by and for students. So we have a place in JEC 4012 where we plan to display all the products that have been made by Inventor Studio students at their startups that they launched, as well as Inventor Studio students who have written provisional patents. So we have artifacts or prototypes of the products displayed in Invent at Rensselaer. So what does Invent at Rensselaer do? So the programs are designed to train students to write provisional patents, launch startups, In addition to designing and innovating products, they're also trained to set up manufacturing operations to make multiple quantities of their innovation. Plus, they're also trained to set up technology services operation as part of monitoring the products that are in the field. Since 2016, 85 students who have taken Inventor Studio courses have written provisional patents, and 30 students have launched startups, and most of these are undergraduate students. So that's an average of about 9 to 10 provisional patents written by students in a year, and roughly 3 to 4 startups launched in a year. Of the 85 provisional patents written, 15 of those have been written by sophomore and junior students who have taken Inventor Studio 1 class. So in summer, we teach Inventor Studio 1. So you will see poster session outside of students who have taken Inventor Studio 1 during summer on their Engineering Innovation for Society Blitz project. So I would like to welcome all of you to go attend that poster session. And I would like to request all the Inventor Studio 1 students to stand up. So I'm going to talk about 5 other programs as part of Invent at Rensselaer. So we have Open Innovation Scholars Program. This is where School of Engineering funds students to spend their Arch Away semester at an Inventor Studio startup. So there were 2 students who spent their Arch Away semester at an Inventor Studio startup. Kristen from School of Science, she is spending her Arch Away semester at Value Tech Strategies, which is a startup launched by Tyler Bade, a mechanical engineer who graduated in spring 23, and that's when he launched his startup. Abigail Golden, a mechanical engineering student, is spending her summer at the Factory Amsterdam. Factory Amsterdam was launched by Brad Matthias in 2019, and he's a graduate of STS department from a humanities and social sciences school. The second program that I want to talk about is for graduate students, and it's called Invent at Rensselaer Startup Immersion Program. And this is designed for co-term students or master's students who have opted the project route to get master's degree. So part of this program is to spend the summer between the bachelor's and their master's program at a startup. And then after they come back with this experience, they work with their faculty co-advisors to develop a master's project which not only advances science, but it also benefits the startup. So the 4 students I want to talk about is Michael Axon. So he spent his summer at the Factory Amsterdam, and his project or summer was funded by SESME, which is the RPI Center on Smart Manufacturing Institute. Rachel and Abdullah, they spent their summer at SolarBlock, which is a regional startup, and their summer was funded by NYSERDA. Olivier spent his summer at X Energy, and his summer was funded by DOE. Michael Axon has moved on to launch his own startup on consulting services for manufacturing startups. And Olivier is in the process of writing a provisional patent on his master's project. For graduate students who choose to do the research route, the program is called Invent at Rensselaer Innovation Research Immersion Program. So 2 students are doing URP this summer so that they can develop a program with national labs or other labs so that they can spend the summer at the lab, at the research labs, and then come back here and hopefully set up their dissertation or thesis topic. Jeff Osborne is working with Sesame, and David Zhang is working with Sandia National Labs to develop their Invent at Rensselaer Innovation Research Program. David, if you're here, if you could please stand up. There's David. The next program I want to talk about is what we call Engineering Innovation for Society Blitz. So Engineering Innovation for Society Blitz is a module which is a part of all 3 Inventor Studio courses. So as part of this Engineering Innovation for Society Blitz, students learn to work on complex societal problems. So in Inventor Studio 1, which is for sophomore and juniors, students work on projects which lead to improving environmental health. In Inventor Studio 2, which is a capstone course, students work on projects which lead to improvements in people health. And together, it leads to societal health improvement. Inventor Studio courses are designed in such a way that there is 1 credit for professional development. And this professional development topics are taught by Archer Center lecturers. All 3 Inventor Studio courses professional development projects are coordinated by Dr. Tracy Sullivan. She is the director of Archer Center for Professional Development. Where it helps in having Archer Center Professional Development lecturers interact with engineering professors during the course delivery is it immerses students in learning human-centered design tools and processes, which is the origin of all Inventor Studio courses. And as you all know, Inventor Studio course actually originated from a design, innovation, and society program that Humanities and Social Sciences has at RPI in the year 2000. So there's a 23 years history of design, innovation, and society program. The last program I want to talk about is STEAM Inventor Studio for high school students to spend 2 weeks at RPI, where they get to explore various career opportunities that they may have once they graduate from college, and they also get to have a feel for what they could learn in Inventor Studio courses. So as part of the program, they also develop prototypes, and there's a poster in the mezzanine where you can get a glimpse of the program, as well as the prototypes that were developed by high school students. Part of this program is the students, high school students, get mentored by undergraduate student aides and graduate TAs. And I would like to ask all the undergraduate TAs and the graduate TAs for STEAM Inventor Studio to please stand up. And I would like to welcome all of you to take a look at the poster and the prototypes developed by high school students. This also got covered in Spectrum News, so let me play that.
Word from RPI's STEAM Innovator Studio Summer Program. For 2 weeks, the group learned under RPI professors and students different career paths by exploring multiple majors. At the end of the program, students got to present projects and ideas to their friends and families. Our professors say it's all about helping to give the kids an opportunity.
We brought this whole thing together and want them to be exposed, to test it, and actually carry out their dreams.
Now,
With that, thank you, everybody.
Thank you to our wonderful faculty who were able to share reflections with us. And now we want to get the perspective of a student and the staff reflection from this summer. And to do that, I'd like to introduce Dr. Konworski, Vice President for Student Life.
So just a few comments before I introduce our presentations. First, I want to thank all of you. As an educator, it's really rewarding sitting here in the audience and thinking, and my background really is not in science, it's in service learning, civic engagement, and experiential learning. But I have been thinking about three words that have always been close to my core, which are preparation, action, and reflection. And I'm really glad that we're able to be here tonight to talk about the reflection piece and what we've learned through the Arch. But it wouldn't be appropriate to not think about all the work that went into it. So first I want to actually thank our faculty. Give them another round of applause for the presentation. And secondly, I'm going to ask you to give our staff who are so involved with planning the Arch, supporting the implementation, and bringing all the activities together across campus. I know I represent student life, and obviously I'm proud of the work that our staff does, but I'm also incredibly proud of everyone who opens the campus up and brings it to life for the summer. So give them a round of applause. And lastly, you got this, right? I want to thank our students. So give yourselves a round of applause. You're 12 weeks in on a 13-week semester. You had a week over July 4th where you had a little bit of a break, and hopefully you got a little time to reflect at that point in the midsummer. But you know, it's really important that you've had this experience, and there are a lot of intentionalities in why we do the Arch. And part of it, and we're in the middle of a Middle States reaccreditation, we're always looking to improve. So I just want to point out a couple things. There are a lot of intentionalities when we think about the Arch. One is the peer-to-peer community, and you saw some incredible pictures today about the community building that's been taking place in our classes and across campus. And part of that is teaching the next generation. That video clip was a great example of our students teaching the next generation, just like our faculty is teaching this generation. A second is that faculty engagement. Hopefully you've all had a deeper, more personal and meaningful connection, whether it's in a classroom or on a field trip. That's been a specific goal of the Arch, is to build that relationship between students and faculty. A third is, as you heard one of our first faculty speakers talk about, I think it was Chris, really helping put your knowledge into action. It is really the practical application of your knowledge. And the first part of that is in the summer, and the second part is the away semester. The fourth is maximizing the Troy and Capital Region. I think the examples we saw tonight are phenomenal examples of how that's been maximized through the summer that you weren't able to do potentially during the fall or spring semester. And lastly, in my colleagues in CCPD, the Archer Center, and all of our advising hubs, it's really helping you build your leadership, career development, career exploration, professional development, networking skills. Many of the things that we talk about, which are really the soft skills, but they're as important as the knowledge you're gaining in the classroom. For us, as members of the administration and as the leadership, we've enjoyed the kickoff barbecue, the midsummer event we did on the 86th field. We've enjoyed this evening, and we'll continue to enjoy that with all of you. Many of you participated with staff and faculty across the Institute during the Center of Gravity that happened weekly, and the community meals that took place. And of course, I'd be remiss, Dr. Schmidt is not here tonight, but as you saw in the video, we had 5 different nights where he and his wife and their dogs opened up their home to all of you. And hopefully most of you took advantage of that and had a chance to connect on a personal level with the president, your dean, and many of your faculty. So just a few other things. the Arch, like any program, and I mentioned Middle States, is always in the process of improvement. And so the first thing I want to do is just recognize that your class leadership, class of 2025, some of the student government leaders have continued to give us feedback and advice on how to continue to enhance the Arch. And we've really worked on that in a December retreat. There's another retreat that's coming up in August. We continue to improve the way we deliver the Arch, and your feedback is critical to that. And your feedback will matter. So as you get that opportunity, provide that feedback, whether it's in your class course evaluations or directly to us in the Arch evaluations. And there are several elements of the Arch evaluation, one for the summer and one for the year away semester. And lastly, I just wanted to say the work doesn't end now. You're also going off into a different component. So I'd love to see, let me just ask our fall away students, just stand up for a moment. Who's planning on being away for fall? Okay. All right, so those of you who are standing, remain standing if you've already submitted your plan for the upcoming semester. Okay, so about a half of you have done that. All right, so this is my advertisement to you. You can sit down now. I sent you all an email, and I've heard through the grapevine that people don't read email. Students don't read email. So I'm going to give this as a live commercial. We've given you some guidance in there. You can easily go back and read the email, but it's also the staff in CCPD, undergraduate education, study abroad, all those offices are here to be a resource to you. So whether it's over the next week while you're still on campus or the next 2 or 3 weeks while you finalize your details, let us know how we can help you. Let me ask the same question. We have probably about 300 students maybe going away in the spring. How many of you are going away in the spring? Those of you who are going away in the spring, stand up. All right, so for those of you, you have a little more time, but I just want to keep that open door. Go ahead, you can sit back down. Just to know that our colleagues will continue to help you throughout the fall semester. So don't be a stranger. I know you had weekly opportunities to drop in the center of gravity. You have daily opportunities to drop in all those offices I mentioned, whether it's the Archer Center, CCPD, your advising office, the hub, or one of the offices that is supportive of the Arch. So don't hesitate to use those resources now. Lastly, I'm honored to introduce our colleagues who are going to do a couple of reflections, both from the student side and the staff side. So Molly, I think you're first up.
Is it the top one? Okay, cool. Okay, I'll stick that there for now. So I guess before I go into things, I just want to say I'm very honored to share the stage today with so many of our esteemed faculty and alumni. I know I complain a lot as an RPI student about how hard stuff is and how the summer has been so awesome. But it's nice to be reminded by how privileged I am to be a student here. So with that being said, hello everybody. My name is Molly Vikovic. I'm a mechanical engineering student and I'm nearing the end of my Arch semester. Compared to my past semesters at RPI, the Arch semester was certainly very different, and I'm sure many of the other students here would agree with me. But I did like getting to see what RPI was like during the summer. As someone that's from Oregon, I got to appreciate all the different plants and mushrooms and cool stuff that I don't normally see on the other side of the country. It was also pretty nice to see the campus not totally covered in snow and ice, as I'm very used to during the winter. It was also very, very quiet, because there's only maybe about quarter of us, as there normally is. I'd often go into a building or just sit in the 86 field, and it felt like I was the only student in the entire campus. Sometimes it was spooky, but it was nice. However, our time here was a little shorter, so pacings of things like homework, exams, and projects, it definitely got a little bit hectic and very stressful at times. I know I spent many late nights and sometimes entire nights just trying to complete an assignment from classes like Intro to Finite Elements or just studying for classes like Elements of Mechanical Design. So it was lots of fun. But, oops, sorry. There we go. Despite all that craziness, I made it to the end relatively in one piece, and hopefully everybody did too. I hope everyone here is giving yourselves a big pat on the back, because let's face it, it was not an easy semester. So good job, everybody. I I think I'll share some similar sentiments from before, but I am very grateful to all the staff and faculty at RPI that made this semester a lot more bearable than it might have been. They have been so supportive and so wonderful to us students. I know part of the reason why I came out of Arch in one piece was because I had some really awesome professors, and I had to get a lot of release with so many fun events, including what Center of Gravity did every week. I got to meet a lot of really interesting people. I actually got to enjoy myself doing so many fun things, and I actually got to become involved with a lot of different projects. So even events like tonight, it's a very welcome break from all the studying that we have to do, especially with finals right around the corner. So I just wanted to just say a quick thank you. I really appreciate the effort made to make a difficult semester into a memorable one. So all the staff and faculty here, thank you so, so much. So as you can see, another thing that I wanted to bring up tonight was the RPI Robotics Club. I was the secretary last semester, and I was actually one of the founders when I first got here, along with several other students that were looking for some robotics opportunities. There were some clubs before us, but unfortunately, due to COVID, they pretty much got phased out. But our goal is to expose students to the world of robotics and create a space that they can become involved in projects that they're interested in. So, let's see. There's some other robots that we showcased. If you were at the last year's Club Rush, you may have seen us running around with a couple of these. That's working. So we have a couple of ongoing projects. One of these is the origami-inspired art installation. This is just kind of an interesting idea because we got to see a lot of how origami and how origami folds are applied in the engineering world. For example, bulletproof collapsible shields to things like solar panels. So we wanted to try and find an origami-inspired project of our own. So we came up with a dynamic interactive art installation. We have some prototypes at the gallery walk today if you'd like to come by and see. We're still an ongoing project, so we're hopefully going to complete it in the next semester or two. So this is some of our vision for that project. But aside from projects, we also get to go out into the community and just get to interact with a lot of different kinds of people. Are there any first kids in here? Yeah. So FRC, if you don't know, is a high school robotics competition. It's very well known, especially in the United States. But students get to take, how long was it? 6 weeks, I wanted to say. You're given a short time period to create a robot to compete in a specific set of challenges. And we were actually able to attend the Tech Valley Regional event last spring. You can see that some of our members are here along with the robots that we like to showcase. And it was really wonderful just getting to meet people, seeing a lot of students interested in engineering and talk about RPI and our experiences at RPI, as well as just why we like robotics and what our club does. Let's see. So we also, Yes. So for the future, we're actually planning on inviting robotics professionals from a variety of institutions for a series of seminars on campus for RPI students to attend. We want to expose RPI students to the wide variety of applications and opportunities that robotics has to offer, as well as a chance to just interact with all these members of the field. So personally, I'm very excited, and I hope that you'll join us when those begin to roll around. Last semester, we actually had a guest speaker from Lutron come in and speak to our club members, even though it was remote. They showed us what products Lutron creates, what they offer in terms of internships and job opportunities, and what experiences an engineer working there may have. So it was great. It was a great time with all of our members. We had pizza. We had a great time. I actually ended up going to their website afterwards, and I applied for a co-op position. Yeah, there's another person who has the same opportunity as me. And I was actually successful in getting that job. So my Arch Away experience was a direct result of that event, which was super cool. I'm really excited to go into the Pennsylvania in the fall for Lutron, and I know I'm looking forward to just having no homework, no exams for a whole semester. It's gonna be awesome. I am still a little bit nervous, but we're gonna see how it goes. But with that being said, our club, if I have any more. So our club actually does have a table at the gallery walk, like I mentioned. If you'd like to come in, ask questions, maybe pitch any projects that you're interested in, because we're always open to new ideas, or even just ask me any questions about what you have about the club, or if you just want to know more about what my life is like. So please feel free to do so. If you're a student, good luck with finals. Everybody else, have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.
And our last reflection for the evening is going to be the staff reflection, and that is going to be by our undergraduate class dean, Caitlin Newsham, and the assistant director for the Arch and Student Transitions, Shayna Hill.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here with us tonight. My name is Shayna Hill, and I'm the new Assistant Director for the Arch.
And my name is Caitlin Newsham. Good evening. I am the class dean for the class of 2025, the students that were in the Arch this summer.
Okay. When I was offered this position at RPI last November, I didn't fully understand the breadth of the community that I was joining. Over the past 9 months, I've continued to be impressed with our community's commitment to diversity, inclusion, as well as our students' tenacity, their dedication to their work, and their innovation. What might have impressed me the most during my first Arch summer term is the staff and the Division of Student Life. My colleagues have shown such dedication to student success in every aspect of our students' experience this summer.
As a member of the Division of Student Life over the last 4 years, I was especially thrilled this summer to get to finally experience a real in-person Arch summer term with my cohort. The last time that I had a class doing the Arch was the summer of 2020. And so with the help of so many in our division, we hosted a successful kickoff, which you saw on the previous slide, and in the opening video, the midsummer celebration, and tonight's wonderful event to celebrate the culmination of all our students' hard work. We'd like to share many thanks to individuals in our division, especially who volunteered to support these milestone events. And each week, it's been mentioned a couple of times, the Center of Gravity was hosted by the Office for Student Success, with great support from the CCPD, the Mueller Center and the Union, the Counseling Center and Health Promotions, and our partners in academic affairs who provided countless hours of tutoring and TA office hours.
This summer, so many staff throughout our community worked behind the scenes to ensure these events, as well as our student resources, were successful. For all the staff who helped make this Arch summer term a success, if you are here tonight, please stand to be recognized. There's a few who did not stand. That's okay. We just want to thank you all for this wonderful summer, and we look forward to doing it again next year.
Thank you.
And this is just a quick thank you to all of the different offices that helped us in terms of staff and staff resources. We definitely know that it's a group effort, a collaborative effort, and so we do thank all of the staff and resource centers that have helped us this summer. And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to Dean Simone, who is going to offer us some closing remarks as we close out the Arch Culminating Event presentations and summer 2023. Dean Simone.
Okay. So these are the culminating remarks from the culminating event for a culminating evening. And so the only thing that's between me and you is dinner. So this is going to be short and sweet. So I have returned to my position as Dean of the School of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences, and it's really nice to be back in my home. Prior to that, I served for 7 months as the acting provost after Dr. Prabhat Jayala announced his stepping down from that position. And you may not have known this when you came in tonight. You thought you were going to hear about Arch and all that stuff, and it was great, But this is actually a reveal party. So you ready for the surprise? We have a new provost. And she's with us tonight, so I'd like to welcome to the stage Dr. Rebecca Doras. You can call her Rebecca, and she's been on the job, 5 days, yeah. So don't ask her any hard questions. Rebecca?
Hi, everyone. I'm Rebecca. Please call me Rebecca like you call Marty. So first of all, thank you to Dean Simone for keeping the provost office afloat while they did the search. You guys probably didn't even know it was happening. It's a big lift for the faculty and staff that participated. Thank you very much. For the students in the audience that participated, thanks for picking me. So I'm just grateful for the kindness and generosity, and I'm really looking forward to this new chapter and adventure in my life. But I want to make a couple things clear, and then we're going to go to dinner. So anybody know what a provost does? Yeah, right. So my notes say, what the heck is a provost? First thing, cover that. Anybody want to take a stab at it? Go ahead. So, yeah, I see somebody's like, you do it. So the provost, and I Googled it to make sure I got it right. No, it's a joke. So the provost oversees the academic side of the house. And what does that mean? It means that the provost oversees the courses, the faculty, the students, and that you have a wonderful, exciting educational experience that prepares you for the next step of your career and your life, but also that you have an environment in which you're comfortable, in which you belong, in which you feel comfortable learning and learning about each other, learning about your student materials, disciplines, and learning about yourself. So today is day 5. And I've had a lot of meetings, and I've met a lot of new people, and I've heard a lot of new acronyms. I've decided this afternoon there will be a piece of paper in the middle of my conference table, and every time an acronym comes along, I will just slide it towards the person or anyone and say, please write that down, because you guys are deeply rooted in acronyms, and I will get it. And I've been here 5 days, and I've been to 3 Arch events. So I really feel like you guys have adopted me. So thank you very much. And I've actually met students in the audience, so thank you very much. And I see some faces that I've met. Hello, hey. I think you owe me an email, right? Do you owe me an email? Yes, you do, yes. Say it loudly. I owe Rebecca an email. Okay. So I just want to, so often, and Molly referred to this, these programs sometimes can be stressful. And we just go from one thing to the next, and we don't really pause and give ourselves grace and say, you know what, I'm really proud of myself. So I want everybody just to reflect on this moment and say, I'm really proud of myself, and you're gonna do great on your finals next week. And this is just the beginning, and I really look forward to what the future holds. So I look forward to my 3rd Arch event. I'm going on my first gallery walk. And I look forward to what I'm seeing, and I understand that you're also going to feed me for the 3rd time this week. Thank you. So if you see me, tonight you're going to see me. Please introduce yourself and get to know me. I promise I'm very likable. I have a little dog. His name is Big. He's a Shih Tzu teacup poodle. We call him a shitty poo. And he was supposed to be 5 pounds. He's 15. I paid extra for him to be small. They got it totally wrong, but he's really adorable. Marty and I and Lynn, we are aligned on the dog thing. So we've yet to introduce the 3 dogs, but we're going to get to that. Probably not in public, but we'll make sure that Big can be a little bit of a brute sometimes, so we'll do that gently. So when you see me tonight, please introduce yourself. If you see me on campus, don't be shy. Just come up and tell me who you are, and if you're persistent enough, I'll eventually start bugging you when I see you out on campus. So have a good time tonight. Be proud of yourself. Good luck on finals, and just enjoy this moment. Thank you.
That concludes our program, and as Rebecca said, the mezzanine hosts the gallery walk, and dinner is on the 7th floor. Have a good evening, everyone.